on this technology. I think even though Tom knew that there was probably going to be a little chance, he still put all the time and effort into it, and I think everyone appreciated the fact that he did do that, and he had a very good proposal. It's just the fact that they did not select, they only could select a few. So.
What's Tom's record anyways?
Right now?
Same with the Red Sox. Can I, do we, let me say this, there's apparently a website that somebody puts out. I only found out about this from my technologist, that high schools have been coming to my office and taking free computers from us. So, that we're surplus, we don't want anymore, and they're pretty good systems. And we will regularly, through the next coming year, be doing that, particularly laptops. I can't ethically tell you when they're coming online, but there's a website someplace that somebody's been checking out to come. I know, I think Brazier came and grabbed a few. So it's a statewide website where I guess they give the address and what we have and what people, they're targeted to the schools.
Okay.
What I can do is find a website so we can pass that along, but somebody needs to look at it.
If you could get the website, Steve.
Excuse me?
If you could get the website,
Okay.
you could check it regularly.
Okay, the Clinton County School Board Annual Recognition Dinner is May 3rd, 2007, at the Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall. Please let Eileen know by the 16th of April if you'd like to attend.
What time's it dinner?
And you got,
6:30.
there you go.
6:30. It's a Thursday? It's a
Yes.
Thursday at 6:30.
Yes.
So yes,
I'll go.
Karen,
Yeah, I'd like to.
Steve?
This is the recognition.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you recognize
For
all
our
the
top-
Top 10%.
Excuse me?
top
Yes.
10?
Yes,
Yeah.
Marlo?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Anybody have any insight into this in terms of, did we used to get, you were involved in this one time, organizing this?
Linda?
or-
We're not on the, there's a
This-
rotation, we
right.
weren't on this year.
Yeah, I saw
Each
Kevin's,
school-
Mark Sposato, Beacontown, and Shazy are doing it this year.
2 schools organized.
I guess, we used to have it at SUNY.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
The
They've got
food
a better
wasn't free,
price.
but I assume the space was free. Is that the same deal?
No, you paid for the space.
You're kidding me.
No.
Karen said the price, a lot
Kevin
less.
Mulligan
said the price per meal has really gone up, so that's why.
At SUNY.
Yes,
So you have to-
yes. Yeah, there was,
This is
Oh,
this
Eileen.
is Kevin's report. Kevin's been trying to get there for 2 years.
I have you, Linda.
Thank you.
okay. Policy 6650, the internal auditor.
I read it.
These are, yeah, these are current,
Okay.
first readings.
Right, these are first
Bring them
readings.
back to the next meeting, bring this policy stuff to the next meeting,
For
discussion.
Okay, get that, so Silva, thank you for reading it. Next time. Well, that'll be our discussion item on that one, policy for next time. Authorized signatures 6410, 5420.2, the request for religious exemptions from immunization, policy 5030, prayer in the schools. So again, these will be brought back next time for discussion and for a vote at the third reading.
The one on the religious exemption from immunization, that scares me. I mean,
I know.
I can understand people and, that I don't have a think religion, whatever, but the thing is, if you say, I don't want my child immunized for whooping cough or something, and then we get a real big outbreak, I don't know, do we have any kind of recourse to do anything? No, okay.
I think the policy will be pretty self-explanatory. I think it's what we can and can't do.
Promotion and retention of students.
That's another one.
It's another policy? Oh, I didn't say that. We didn't have a policy.
You didn't?
Oh,
we did it,
You didn't
Linda.
read it?
Yeah, Linda, that's
Oh,
right.
please,
you're
I
on the
wrote it,
policy
what are you
committee.
doing? We
Well, we
wrote it.
didn't really
We
write it.
rewrote it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lynn.
I don't think
I thought he
there
was
is a
doing
number.
it
There
now.
isn't a
There isn't a number.
That's
No?
a new one that you guys.
It's a new one,
came up
okay.
with.
Yeah,
I thought they all got numbers eventually.
yeah,
Okay, thank you. So that's a new one that we're putting
Yeah.
into place.
we're looking at it.
Sorry. Ann Sterling, the school bus driver, will be out on maternity leave beginning March 26, 2007, using accumulated sick leave. The art of redesigning a middle school. Bob, did you want to say anything about
No, I
that?
just, basically this, when we had our RTI committee, this was something that someone came up with, and I believe they felt that it would be something for the board to look at, and it just basically is something from an article. So we just put it in the packet so they could look at it, that's all. Just a piece of information.
Warrant number 23 dated March 14, 2007 was in your packet. An update on the elective committee.
Yes, we did meet. I thought we had a very good meeting. And basically, what we decided to do is to put out a survey, and Larry and I worked on that survey. I believe that survey went out last week, and asking the teachers what electives they would like to teach, what electives that they have already taught, so we can get more information. And then, once we get the survey information, we're going to meet again, I believe it's on the 23rd maybe of April. And then we're going to take a look at that information, so.
We also talked a bit about a core group of electives too, at least that concept, rather than, so the need to, for students and guidance to know what's coming. As somebody starts working their schedule, say in 9th grade, or even 7th grade, I guess, and, plan on taking something in 9th grade, that they know it might be available. So trying to look a little more long-term rather than year to year on these kinds of things. Good discussion, I think it was enlightening for me. Onward and upward.
I just have one more item here. Bayport Blue Point Union Free School District has asked that we bring this to the board meetings, and that the board would consider passing a motion that would repeal the Civil Service Law Section 209-A, Paragraph 1, Section 3, also known as the Triborough Amendment to the Taylor Law. What this does, this obligates the school districts to pay an increment on the salary schedules to members of employee organizations which are party to labor contracts after expiration of said agreements. So in other words, when you are in negotiations, that basically, according to the Triborough law, you still have to pay their increments. So just something to think about, and that we can probably put it on for discussion as to whether this is something that we want to do as a board, or whether it's just information that you want to have.
Okay, should we do that now, or can we do it next time?
Do it, I
This is
think we can do it next time.
next time, okay? A letter from Adirondack Helping Hands Incorporated indicating due to recent changes in the Medicaid guidelines, they're not going to be able to provide services to NCCS.
Is this speech?
Pardon?
This speech?
This is speech. If you remember, we had been looking at possibly being able to provide a licensed speech pathologist to oversee our speech teachers who are not licensed speech pathologists, so that we could file for Medicaid reimbursement. However, since then, and we had the contract, so I asked Adirondack Helping Hands, after this new legislation was passed, that now it has to be a licensed speech pathologist only who can qualify for this, because basically what you had was a licensed speech pathologist from the Organization of American Helping Hands that would oversee your speech teachers, and that would be sufficient for us to be able to file for the reimbursement. But since that ruling has changed, Adirondack Helping Hands has sent us a letter, which I requested, so that that would nullify the contract that we had with them originally, because they can no longer provide that service, and that's what that's for.
Due to a CSE recommendation, there will be one student aid position reduced. Kim Rivers will go to Moore's Elementary. Cinda Watts will take the middle school 90% student aid testing position. Garrett Galushi will go to Moore's 3.5 hours daily, taking Ashley Akey's position. Ashley will no longer have a position. One final bit of information, the BOCES.
Can I just ask a question on that? NCCS, well, wait a minute, is it,
It was a,
it's the Teachers Association, right?
no, well, yeah, no, it's the CSEA. What you had is you had a recommendation at the board last time based upon a medical request that a student would be, home tutored for the rest of the year. Therefore, and there was an individual that was assigned to that student full-time. Now, that individual, since they were senior within the organization, has an opportunity to go to the least senior full-time position. And that person that had the least full-time position would have opportunity to go to the least part-time position, which is the 90%. And the person with the least 90% position then has a chance to go to the 3.5.
So there's no bumping.
It's not bumping.
The annual meeting of BOCES is tomorrow evening at 7:30 in Mineville. You're all welcome to join us for that annual meeting in Mineville at 7:30. Okay, discussion. We need to have our kitchen hoods cleaned.
Yes, we do. Based upon the fire inspection, we, apparently they've never been done. So, I mean, that means we're very clean.
Do you need to have a motion to clean these hoods? Is that the problem, or
Well-
consensus, or what?
Well, first of all,
$20,000.
no. I guess what I'm saying is, through the fire inspection, this was one of the things that came up that we needed to do. And there are very few people who can do this because you have to be certified or whatever. And we happen to have an individual, Cliff Sterling, who has gone through the training, who has given me his certification, his business certificate, and he has given us a proposal to clean the one in Moore's Elementary. There are only two, it's Moore's, and here in the middle school would be $300, and to clean the one here in the middle school would be $500, so for a total of $800. And they have to go in, clean all the ductwork and all the filters, and we've never really had it done, so.
What do you want, consensus or a motion?
We don't need any consulting engineers for this?
That's 11,000.
I would like a motion.
Can I have a motion,
I will
please,
make
to
that
expend
motion
$800
to
on
get
those?
Cliff Sterling to clean those things,
Thank you. May I have a
whatever they are.
second? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
We have a letter from Amy Garrett requesting transportation for children to Seton.
Okay, I have talked to Amy on the phone, and we did bring this up to the board last time. And I guess I just need to make one comment, because when you talked about those buses standing still, what they do is they transfer students, because some students have to go to one place and another. That's their location where they transfer. But what I did after I told Amy, I would have to check with the attorney, and last time we did that also. And then I checked, like I have Jackie's letter here, and I guess the part, whether we decide this tonight or whether you bring it back and decide, I'm just going to give you some of the information, and I can give you more. When you're dealing with a school district that's located less than 15 miles, then the transportation is not, affected by it, because that goes under Education Law 365 1B2, which provides the following. says, Board of Education may at its discretion provide transportation for pupils residing within the district to a non-public school located more than 15 miles from the home or any such pupil, provided that such transportation has been provided to such non-public school pursuant to this subdivision in at least one of the immediately preceding school years, and such transportation is provided for one or more centralized pickup points designated pursuant to this paragraph, and that the distance from such pickup points to the non-public school is not more than 15 miles. The district shall not be responsible for the provision of transportation for pupils between people's homes and such pickup points. The cost of providing transportation between such pickup points at such non-public schools shall be an ordinary contingent expense. And basically, what Jackie is telling us is that if you were to do this, and again, as I say, I think you need to have time to think about it. If you were to do this, you need to get voter approval to do it. Because what you're doing is you're changing the situation of what we currently have for busing. And as far as the CVES, CV Tech, and all those are functional programs of the school. So therefore, that's why that transportation can be provided. I know that Amy provided us with a lot of information. She gave us the MapQuest with all of the different distances. And yes, CV Tech is probably further than Seton is, no question. However, this is what our attorney has given us. So I will make a copy of this and give it to each of you prior to the board meeting. I will also contact her again and see if there are any other changes in light of what we talked about, and then I think we should bring it back up again for discussion at the next meeting.
Bob, I'm sorry.
No, good.
Did you check anything with state ed?
Well, I would believe that Jackie would be doing that, but, I can...
Has any school that had a waiver or something like that, are they doing it?
I don't know about a parochial school, but I know through my work that a district can decide to transport an adult. Technically, it's public transportation by board discretion in terms of, this has come up in some of the North Country when somebody, an adult with a disability, is not attending school, but is going to work at OC's maybe, and needs a ride. We don't need to do a referendum on that. The board, though, has to direct that isn't okay. So that would be the only thing I would question of Jackie's or her interpretation, whether you need a referendum. I don't know where I come down on providing this, but I don't know that a referendum, and I remember reading the commissioner's grades on this, because we passed a post in district to provide transportation. But it wasn't to a school, it was to
Sure. Amy, will you entertain the question?
Well, in the school law, as you're saying, I don't know if she checked the school law.
She wants to
I
ask
wanna
this.
ask-
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, where you got your information
Yes.
that says that we have to transport if we already gone that far?
Right.
Where did you get that information?
From the school law, 28th edition, section 2289, page 703, 704. I got hold of the New York State Transportation, and they referred me to this law,
Okay, that's what I
and
wanted.
I pulled it offline.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So you'll make copies of that?
Yeah,
for
I
us
will.
and-
I'll make copies of Jackie's letter, and then also, I
And kind
think
of
you have all
summarize
the
the
information,
situation.
all the information that Amy gave you.
We get a copy of your
Yeah.
letter too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Students taking driver permit tests at NCCS.
Chris, you want to talk?
Yes, DMV had contacted all the area schools to ask if we would be interested in having students during school time take their permit test. So I asked the librarian and the aide if they would look into it and call DMV and talk to the lady and see what that would entail. And so she got back to me, and I guess I want to say in advance, I asked the other area principals how many schools are doing this, and it was mixed. Some of the districts have the feeling that it's DMV's job and their responsibility, and the high school employees shouldn't be doing the testing. My take on it was that if kids could take their permit test here and not have to drive into Plattsburgh, because we don't excuse that in our attendance policy, because they can do it during a vacation or a different time, that it was worth pursuing. So the librarians have gotten back to me and said that they could do it in the fall. DMV would be sending them out books. If you want us to do this, they would probably send out 100. Students would have to schedule a time with them in advance to come in and take the test. It would either be from 8 o'clock until 8:20 in the morning prior to school, during their lunch, or after school at 20 and 3 until 3 or 3:30, depending on how long the TGS aide would be in here. What would happen is I would get from them a username and a password that the librarians could go in and log in. They would print a receipt for the students saying they passed the test, and then the student or the parent would have to take that receipt down and pay at a different time, probably a Thursday evening or something for that. So we just wanted to get your input on whether you wanted us to do that or not.
Makes sense.
Is DMV gonna pay us a fee for it?
No. And that's what some of the districts said, if they're not gonna pay, then why should we do their work? I just thought if it would help parents out in the community and kids can take the test here rather than having to drive into Plattsburgh, then it would be.
Before or after school hours, right?
Yeah, it would be prior to school, during their lunch, or at the end of the day, at 20 and 3, they could come in. They'd have to schedule it so the librarian was ready.
And there'd be no cost to it.
You're providing a service.
No, they won't give us any money either, but yeah, it was just mostly to help the kids and their parents out.
I think we should explore it. It sounds like you'd be providing a service to the local people. See how much they want to do.
There's
No cost.
No cost.
Be no cost to the district.
It's
There's
more
no cost to the
convenience for them.
district, it's just whether you felt that we're doing the MP's job or not, that's.
But we are.
No, we get nothing out of it.
No, they
No, they have
pay
to pay
DMV. But would they be giving us a check for DMV?
No, they have to
No,
pay.
they have to take it
pay
down
the
themselves.
They take care of the money.
So consensus, yes? Karen? Zola? Steve?
That'd be one less awful experience at DMV.
Brandon?
Did you get that?
Yes. Thank you very much.
John Cyril with my love.
Okay, policy on students dropping courses.
Christine wanted to talk to you about this. We don't currently have, I believe, a policy for students dropping courses, but she wanted to talk about something for one semester and for a year.
I just kind of want to sneak in and clarify two things. A lot of things when Mrs. Marr was the director, a lot of things were verbally done that I can't find anywhere in writing, so we're just trying to, as we discover things, clean them up and get them into the student handbook, so that we know exactly what the policy is and all the students follow the same procedure policy. I actually went in and found in the student handbook, it right now says, and I want to make sure this is all right with you, that students are to take 6 courses a year, because I know many of you have been worried that our students are taking a rigorous load. Students have to have 22 credits to graduate from high school. It says 6 in the, we might have to clean the wording up a little. That would be 5 courses that Mike was alluding to at the last meeting. 5 that would either be full-time or a combination, say economics and government, or both 12th grade history classes, but they're each a semester. That would count as 1. So students would take 5-year courses or a combo. Intro to computers and career and financial planning would be a combo. And let's see, 5, so it would be 6. So basically it'd be 5-year courses and then gym, and then an elective, a semester course that would give them 6. We'd have to have extenuating circumstances if a student with special needs, in case with AIS or resource rooms, if they couldn't fit it, obviously they wouldn't be able to do that. But generally for students, that would be 6 periods they would have lunch, which would be 7. That would still give them 2 periods, that they could take extra courses, or they would, but that way they'd have a max of 2 study halls. If that is agreeable, then our suggestion was that in a semester course, students would have 2 weeks to drop it, and in a year course, they would have 5 weeks. Because what happens is, especially with seniors, as the year progresses, they decide they'd really rather not take something, and then you get them coming in wanting to drop things. And when you're talking about having a bigger load because it looks better for college and not have kids dropping things, we just don't want to randomly be saying, you can drop something you can't. So we'd rather have something that has a consensus to board so that it's just fair. So if that's that's reasonable to us, we just want to make sure that both of those are what direction you'd like us to go and that you think are reasonable.
This would appear in the handbook?
Yeah, we'd like to put it in the handbook so that things are clear and easy to read.
Sounds reasonable to me.
And obviously, there's extenuating circumstances. The student wasn't doing well and was in jeopardy of not passing a course that they needed to graduate, and the teachers were saying they were trying really hard, but they need some extra help, then obviously that would be an extenuating circumstance, and we'd let them drop something if need be to get the extra help they needed.
Okay, consensus, that's okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Linda? Just so I'm clear, back earlier, we made what we thought and still is a sound educational decision in the elementary schools, but by doing that, we created a childcare issue. Now, Bob, you said you're gonna work on some solutions that parents might be able to, how are we gonna convey that back to them prior to May? Or did you want some parents to work with you to brainstorm ideas? What did you think?
I have no problem, and I have no problem in organizing a meeting and having anyone who's interested attend. We did this last year, if you recall, when we looked at moving students from Moores to Rouse's Point, from Rouse's Point to Moores. I held a general meeting with, I think it was about 50, 60 people that attended then. I think that sometimes through discussion, solutions evolve. But I think that, I'm going to need direction from the board as to exactly what their intent is. And then I have no problem in holding meetings and trying to come up with reasonable solutions.
Well, I like the idea of looking at options. I'm committed to the change as an individual board member. But if there are ways we can remediate some of the difficulties that this has created for some, whether that's, whether we need to have a couple aides in the school earlier for those kinds of things, to at least have that kind of discussion to see about, those possibilities. But you're right, you need some direction from the board. I don't know if we'll give it to you tonight, but this is we're, as far as I know, we didn't vote to change what we implemented, so that's still on the table. But certainly, if there are ways we can minimize the impact this has had, we certainly should take a look at it. That would be my recommendation, my direction to you.
Our next meeting is 6:30 on the 16th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
April, Monday, April 16th?
That's when we're going to accept the petition.
That's when we'll accept the petitions?
In opposition.
Could we, Monday the 16th at 6:30?
Correct.
Could we have, at that time, what you found out for alternatives? And if you need,
Can do that.
But you can't have a meeting before that.
No, I won't have a meeting.
Effective way to.
But I will
no,
still
he's
pursue.
pursuing those alternatives, so we have something more to look at that time. I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss 2 matters related to collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, and for matters relating to the employment history of 5 individuals.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We do not expect to be coming out and taking any action after that executive session. Once again, thank you for coming.